Happy five-star day here in Sooner Nation. Welcome to the Sooner Surge. Thanks to everyone who has been viewing the content on our YouTube channel. We really appreciate it. It is official. Michael Fasusi has committed to the University of Oklahoma, the five-star offensive tackle that many people thought OU would not be able to land. Bill Beatembo and company have landed Michael Fasusi, 6'5", 295. Excellent. I mean, I don't know what else to say, guys. This is amazing, and he's going to be a bookend on that tackle spot for years to come in Norman.
Yeah, first five-star offensive lineman for Bill Beatenbow since Bray Walker. And I believe this is the first overall composite across the board five-star across from every service. Fasusi, 12th ranked prospect in the composite rankings. That makes him the third offensive tackle, fifth player from Texas. Massive get for Bill Beatenbow. And this puts Oklahoma's class right now with 23 commits back into that top 10. Going to be an uphill battle if Oklahoma wants to get a top 5 class. A few flips are going to have to happen to make that a possibility for Oklahoma with the way recruiting has went for other schools across the country. But Fasusi was one of the players that we've talked about since probably this time last year, that in this 2025 class, you have to land him. And Bill Beatenbow and the Sooners did it.
Yeah, Hunter, you said it. Bill Beatenbow, he finally got his guy. And it felt like for the longest time, we all thought that Lamont Rogers was going to be a Sooner. And he ended up committing to Missouri. And now Bill Beatenbow, he says, okay, I'm going all in on Michael Fasusi. And if you ask me, this shows that Oklahoma's NIL as well has been all in, because there still is questions about, well, is Oklahoma going to go all in for a 5-star? And obviously, Michael Fasusi was also being recruited by the likes of Texas and Texas A&M, who are definitely two schools that play the NIL game super duper heavy. And this is super massive. You have the cornerstone player of your class in Michael Fasusi, a 5-star offensive lineman. And you see the guys Bill Beatenbow put into the league: Trent Williams, the Lane Johnsons, the Creed Humphreys, the Tyler Guytons, the Anton Harrisons. So Bill Beatenbow has a chance to have himself another elite offensive tackle.
Well, I mean, this was huge on all regards, Hunter. You mentioned last year at this time talking about it. I think as 24 class was talked about as the power line, the offensive line was kind of what people in 2025 wanted to see. And now you look at it with Ryan Foje on one end and Fasusi on the other. Ryan Foje, guys, I think might be a 5-star by the time it's done, but at least a 4-star, high 4-star. So you got 2 tackles now in this class. That is by far and away, I think, above anything Bill Beatenbow has ever done in recruiting at Oklahoma for the offensive line. He had a really good class in 2024. Now you have this in 2025. It's great. And I look at Fasusi and you watch his tape and everything. I think he's probably the most talented guy that Beatenbow has ever gotten. I know Bray Walker was high, but this he's on another level. And it's also big because who you got him from. Because you go right into Texas and I mean, right outside of Dallas and get him with the likes of Texas really wanting him as well. So it's huge in that aspect. I mean, everyone's talked about Bill Beatenbow, the development, and that to me is probably, I know, Jackson, you mentioned NIL, and yeah, that plays a part. It plays a part in every recruitment, especially 5-star recruitments. But I look at the development of the offensive lineman recently, even with the likes of Tyler Guyton, who is right outside in Dallas right now, tearing it up in fall camp, mini camp. So all that, I think, just it looked good for Fasusi to come to Oklahoma with NIL, with development, all of it. You're in the SEC, you're playing against the best, and glad he chose Oklahoma, that's for sure. Well, the thing is, obviously, money is a factor. Money's always going to be a factor from now until money is not allowed anymore, which will be never. Money is a factor. Michael Fasusi is going to get paid well. That's a given, but he was not chasing money like many people, I think, alluded to. And I think what you just said, Jay, with the development and things like that, that had to come into play. Also, you combine what last year's class looked like. I mean, he had to have seen that this group of guys together could possibly be like the best in the country for years and years, like stacked upon each other with that group. So I think all that
led to this decision. And Jay, maybe Tyler got it even with what he sees doing that as well. But I do think the 2024 class was big as well.
Yeah, and what's interesting with Fasusi is you look, again, second 5-star for Bill Bedenbaugh. Bray Walker never panned out, unfortunately, for Bedenbaugh and the Sooners. But look at what, again, back to Anton Harrison, Tyler Guyton, back-to-back years their first-round picks. Tyler Guyton is the talk, like Jay mentioned, of NFL preseason right now, especially in Dallas. I mean, he is playing some of the best football in the entire NFL, and he is a rookie. Again, those guys were not highly recruited. Now you're giving Bill Bedenbaugh a 5-star, number 12 player in the country. I mean, you have to think the sky is the limit there with how Bedenbaugh, I mean, in a few years, Creed Humphrey going to be the highest paid offensive or center in the NFL. You look at the other players that Bedenbaugh has coached over the past few years, Orlando Brown being one of them. I mean, the contracts are there in the NFL. Most of OU's NFL money is from offensive linemen, and a good chunk of them from Bill Bedenbaugh, coached offensive linemen. But also, I think another player that hasn't really been mentioned yet in this video that played a role in this was Sean Hutton, committing to Oklahoma as a PWO, teammate at Louisville of Fasusi, interior offensive lineman. And again, last year, Oklahoma had a very good offensive line class. They just missed out on all the big dogs. They didn't land any of the top high 4-stars or the 5-stars that they were in on. This year, they get Fasusi. So, again, stacking classes is massive in the trenches. I mean, we say it all the time. You have to have very good play in the trenches to win a championship.
Yeah, something that all of you guys have said is that the 2024 class and the 2025 class along the offensive line, they balance each other out so well. Because 2024 along the interior, you have Eugene Brooks, you have Daniel Akinkunmi, you have EPL. And in the 2025 class, you get Foje and Fasusi as your tackles. You talk about 4 to 5 potential cornerstone guys on the offensive line. If all of these guys develop into what they can be, you talk about Bill Bedenbaugh potentially having another Joe Moore award-winning offensive line with just the talent that all these guys have. So these young and up-and-coming players, along with the 2025 class, it is something that Bill Bedenbaugh has done a great job of going into year 1 and 2 in the SEC.
Yeah, and the last thing I'm going to say is I think if you are an OU fan, and now that Fasusi's committed, I do think this might break a string and might cause in the future to have the 5-star offensive linemen come to Oklahoma. It's kind of been talked about that Bedenbaugh just can't land that 5-star. I think this might break the ice, just like it kind of did, I think, defensive line-wise last year. I think same thing offensive line-wise. I think this is going to really bode well for Oklahoma in the near future. You're in the SEC. You mentioned NIL. You're paying the left tackles, right tackles, whatever it is. Those tackles get paid money. Okay. Now you put that along with development on a good team in the SEC. I think this is when we talk about joining the SEC matters. It makes a difference for recruiting. I think it definitely made a difference in this recruitment.
Yeah, and the other thing, guys, is the quarterback room at OU is kind of set. And if you're a tackle, you want to play with elite quarterbacks because it's just going to have your name be mentioned even more because you're protecting those guys. And I think OU recognized the importance of having a tackle, and they've got him. Michael Fasusi is a Sooner. This was the date everyone was waiting for, and now everyone can focus and turn their attention to August 30th as the Sooners take on Temple. But Michael Fasusi has committed to the University of Oklahoma. Thanks for committing to watch our content here at the Sooner Surge. If you haven't subscribed, please do so, and we'll see you next time.